Welcome to the first episode of the Checkered Flag Racing podcast. Now, nothing really exciting happened this weekend in NASCAR, right? So I don't know if we have much to talk about. But I'm joined by Tegan. Hello, Tegan.
Hello, Mike.
And I'm joined by, who's going by RPDP today, I'm joined by Ryan.
Hello.
All right, so let's just get right into it. It has been over 60 years since the last time a NASCAR driver was disqualified after they won a race. That happened today, and yesterday. And not only was the first place driver disqualified, the driver in second was as well. So Hamlin and Kyle Busch disqualified, and that means the winner. What can I say? Chase Elliott wins at Pocono without even leading a lap. So I'll go to you first, Tegan. What do you think about this whole thing? Because it totally caught me off guard.
I mean, I'm not surprised at who it is. He was the last one that got disqualified, from a winning car at Darlington. So I'm surprised it took this long for a Cup car to be disqualified. And not only did we get first, we also got the second place car. So that tells me that they tore down both of them at the same time, which I've seen the video where they were doing it before they even knew they were DQ'd. And it's not shocking. It's Joe Gibbs. They're always pushing it. They just got caught.
Right.
I mean, we're talking about a tape that was really, really thin.
Yeah. But that thin tape can give
And it was clear.
downforce.
So you had to really be looking for it.
Yeah. But that little piece of tape could give them a fair amount of downforce that definitely helps them handle well, because those two were two of the fastest. And, Ross Chastain was pretty fast too, but we don't know. We'll never know if he had that tape there. Ryan, what are your thoughts?
You don't have to worry about him getting inspected.
Yeah, right? No.
I mean, doesn't karma come to bite back on Denny Hamlin?
Okay.
Talked all that trash after his win before it got taken away about Chastain. And all of a sudden, not just him, but Busch also gets it. I mean, like Tegan said, they push it, but they pushed too far this time. They got busted for it. So, I mean, what can you do about that if you're Joe Gibbs? I mean, that's just, number one, bad on your guys' part, because it became obvious that you had two of the best cars out there and get busted, and then you let Chase get another win. So, I mean, this was bad on Joe Gibbs in general. They got busted, and that's simple as that. Karma got him.
He's a hack.
He is a hack.
Hey, and Kyle Busch complains about Bowman backing into a win.
It must be a
backing
Hendrick
into
thing.
a win.
Chase didn't even back into it. It fell into his lap. I mean, he didn't even have to lead a lap.
While he was about 30,000 foot in the air.
That's never happened before. Like, there's never been a NASCAR winner that has won a race without leading a single lap.
Yeah, one. Last time Denny Hamlin got disqualified. No, he's the second.
Oh, right. I'm talking about the Cup series, but Custer in the Xfinity series. Yeah, he did not lead a lap at that Darlington race and ends up winning the race. But good on Chase Elliott. As a Chase fan, very, very happy with that. But, I honestly have to give respect to Denny and Kyle, because, or even Joe Gibbs in general. I think that it's a good idea in theory to put something under the wrap. I'll play a video here right now to describe a little bit about what NASCAR saw. So Brad Moran is the guy that kind of heads up the post-race inspections, and here's what he had to say on why the 11 and the 18 were disqualified.
Yeah, unfortunately, we were doing our post-race inspections, which we do. There was some issues discovered that affect aero of the vehicle. The part was the front fascia, and there really was no reason why there was some material that was somewhere that it shouldn't have been, and that does basically come down to a DQ. It is a penalty. Both first 11 of Denny Hamlin and the 18 of Kyle Busch been DQ'd. Their vehicles are being loaded in a NASCAR hauler. They're going to go back to the R&D center. The final results have been changed to show that the 2 DQs were there, and they have the opportunity to appeal it, and it'll be all sorted out by next week. So, like Mike said, I can't get into all the details of what the issues were, but both vehicles had the same issue, and unfortunately, they were not acceptable to pass the inspection.
So that's what he had to say, and what we found out now, I believe Scott Miller came out and said, a competition director for NASCAR. He came out and talked about how it was a piece of white tape, 2 by 5 inches, less than a 100th of an inch thick. Yeah. So it was very minute, but a thing like that with these cars, they can make a big difference. Spencer commented. Let's look at his comment here. All right. Thanks, Spencer. But yeah, that could be an amount of downforce that would have been enough to make those guys.
Makes you wonder just how long they've been doing it, and they just finally got caught.
Yeah. And you wonder how many other teams are doing something similar to that. And
now they're not.
Assume that, definitely not now. And you'd have to assume the 19. You have to assume the 19, the 20, the 23, and the 45 are probably doing the same thing.
Yeah, and you got lucky that they didn't finish top 3 or 5.
Well, top 2 is where they were most heavily. The top 2 are the most that are heavily scrutinized and torn down, and then the rest of the top 5 are inspected. But I don't believe anything after that. So, yeah, it was definitely unprecedented. Definitely something that I didn't see coming. I mean, we were in the league race, and you come out with Chase Elliott 1, and I'm like, what?
Thanks to S'mores for that tidbit, by the way.
Thank you to S'mores. But, I was like, what?
Mike didn't believe me.
No, I didn't. I thought you guys were messing with me, but, I guess not. But Chase Elliott, of course, he's not really a fan of winning at this race, I guess. He came out and said that Denny can keep the trophy, that he doesn't feel like he deserves to win. Well, in reality, though, he was the car that crossed the finish line first that didn't have any illegal parts on their car. So Chase Elliott won. He doesn't want the trophy, but let's talk about something a little bigger.
I'd want the trophy.
The trophy, yeah. Give me the trophy. You don't know how many of those you're going to get. So give me the trophy. But the biggest thing about that is Denny Hamlin would have been second in playoff points with his win. But now he's not. And Chase Elliott adds 5 more playoff points. And he has.
It's a 10-point swing.
Yeah, it's a 10-point swing. And now Chase Elliott has over a 100-point lead in the regular season standing. So you'd have to assume that it's all but confirmed that he's probably going to be the regular season champion. So Chase Elliott is going to have a haul of about 40 points heading into the playoffs. What do we think about that? Is he the clear-cut championship favorite right now?
I wouldn't go that far. He could probably coast through the first segment and maybe the second, but I don't really think we have a favorite. It's just Chase Elliott's come here lately, but that could literally just flip-flop. I mean, look at Penske. Blaney was having really good runs, and now the last couple of weeks, he's not even been a factor. So it just seems like it can come and go pretty quickly. I mean, even Larson's been struggling, in my opinion, here lately. He's not as fast as where he's used to being. So it could go pretty quickly.
I'm gonna agree with Tegan on that. This new car is just throwing everyone for a loop, and there's really no clear-cut favorite. Chase could probably get through the first segment with pretty relative ease, unless something absolutely bad happens to him, like he wrecks out 2 to the 3, which is unlikely to happen. And then depending on where he sits at after the first round of the playoffs, he probably could get through the round of 12 pretty easily too. So, I mean, you got to put him as a favorite because of how he's been lately right now, but you can't say that overall because of the fact these cars are so much different. all these, like, you can see all these other drivers are struggling. Some are doing good, and it's too unpredictable.
Right. And so, I'm a little biased in this discussion on if Chase Elliott's the championship favorite, but I'd say right now that he has gone away, has clearly, honestly, cemented himself as the favorite, because one constant this year, in a year of a lot of unpredictable things happening, Chase Elliott has been the points leader for a majority of this season. He built up a pretty solid lead, and it was about 60 points, and he had a couple bad races. It got down to around 20 or 30, and now he's built it back up again to 100 points. He's had 5 straight top 2s, 4 wins, which is the second best is 2. I don't see how anybody can say that he's not the championship favorite. He's been so consistent all year. He's been good at every type of track, and a guy that I see kind of the closest person to him, in my opinion, is Ross Chastain. Ross Chastain has been fast everywhere he goes. He has a boatload of top 5s. So I look at Chase Elliott as the championship favorite, but I'm going to say Ross Chastain is definitely my second favorite. And then I think there's a gaggle of cars behind them. It could be Blaney, Truex, Kyle Busch, even Hamlin could get on a hot streak. Logano, he's really been bad lately. That's the interesting thing is, you look at a guy like William Byron, and the early months of the season, he had 2 wins in the first probably 7 races, I think. And now he's had 1 top 10 in his last 13 races. William Byron, if the playoffs start tomorrow, I don't know if he's a sure thing to make it out of the first round. Same with Joey Logano, same with Kyle Busch, same with Alex Bowman. They have all had really, really rough times this summer. So that's where the unpredictability comes. And when there's guys that have been so inconsistent, Chase Elliott has been very good all season. So I look at him and I look at Ross Chastain as the 2 guys that have really cemented themselves above the rest of the field.
And that brings up the point of unpredictability. We never expected Trackhouse to take this massive leap. Both cars have wins. Suarez has come out and cemented himself as a decent. I mean, he never really. I mean, when he was in the 19 and the 41, he was really never good. But then the 99 started Trackhouse started progressing. He started showing some glimpses of what he could have been when he was in the Xfinity series, and then goes out to win Sonoma, and then Chastain, obviously the best car on that team. They've both been really good, and you could see Trackhouse's improvement big time. And that leaves the unpredictability with every car. You don't know who's going to be fast. Besides, the only 2 guys that you can almost guarantee to be fast is the 9 and the 1, which I will agree with. Those guys are fast.
And they've been fast everywhere. So that's where I'm saying that those 2 are, I'd say Chase is a level above Chastain, and Chastain a level above the field. Because when you look at the playoff standings, I'll pull it up right now on my phone here. But, a lot of these guys that, got wins earlier this year and they're big names, they've been very, very inconsistent since then. You got Ryan Blaney in 3rd, who he's had a rough time lately, but I think that Ryan Blaney, if he can make the playoffs, which is crazy to say if about the guy that's 3rd in points, if he can make the playoffs. I think he will. I think he'll find a way. But I don't look at him as a Final Four caliber driver right now. I look at him as a round of 8 guy that, he'll miss it, but he won't really be a factor in he won't be in the fight for the Final Four at Martinsville. Kyle Larson, he's had a few races where he's done really, really good the first 2 stages and then will fade away. But I think Larson, he's close. He's the guy he's the bridge in between Chastain and the rest of the field. Larson has been, I think, the 3rd best driver this season. He's got 9 top 5s, which is actually, he's got more top 5s than Chase Elliott. So Larson's been very, very good. But I think right now he is the 3rd. He would be my 3rd guy in the Final Four. And then you have a complicated gaggle behind that. You have Truex in 5th, who really can't finish a race. You have Christopher Bell. Christopher Bell is 6th in points with 6 top 5s and 12 top 10s. If you told me that even 5 weeks ago, I'd be like, where did that come from? Christopher Bell is the second highest Joe Gibbs racing driver in points, and he's been running very, very well as of late. So Christopher Bell's the guy they got to look out for. Joe Logano, he's 7th in points, but he's got 4 consecutive finishes outside of the top 20. You know, he's inconsistent lately. Kyle Busch has been very, very bad lately. That was his rebound race, and look where he ended up.
And that blew it.
And then you have William Byron in 9th, who, as I've mentioned, has had 1 top 10 in the last 13 races. And then Kevin Harvick's 10th in points, and he's out of the playoffs right now. Right. So if you told me that, my humble opinion, if the playoffs started tomorrow, Christopher Bell would be in my Final Four, I'd say, whoa. But right now, I think he is. I don't know what you guys think, but he's impressed me.
I think he can do it, but I don't know. I think we're going to see a lot of cars show speed that ain't showed it yet.
Definitely. I think you could see a guy like Logano, a guy like Kyle.
I don't know about Logano. I don't know about Logano. That one right there, I think Fords are struggling in general. To be quite honest, I think Stuart Haas has been running better than Penske right now. They just ain't got the finishes to show for it.
Harvick has clearly been the best Ford lately.
He has been.
I think it's been clear.
But because a certain 11,
especially 2 DNFs, has really fucked him.
The one problem is that the worst problem is that Harvick ran into at Pocono was you had a guy that wasn't willing to give the lead up because it was late in the race, or giving a chance at the lead late in the race, and then a guy that was playing revenge because of Gateway. When was Hamlin that good at Gateway at the first start of the race? He was okay, but he wasn't that fast. He wasn't as fast as certain other guys in the field, it felt like.
I mean, I can get why he got revenge. I just feel like it just screwed somebody else over that wasn't involved. And then what good did it do him? He still finished behind Ross Chastain. And he took out Harvick, who probably could have finished 3rd or 4th and had a good opportunity to have a win handed to him. Because he was literally running ahead of Chase and a bunch of them when it happened. So
let's take a dive into the Hamlin Chastain thing. So as everybody knows, it's probably been it has been undisputedly the biggest feud of this season. It starts off at St. Louis, where the battle for, I think, 4th place, Chastain just flat out dumps Denny. It was a mistake by Chastain, but it cost Denny his day. Denny spends the entire race trying to mess with Ross. Ross winds up in the top 10. And then at Atlanta, Ross Chastain slides up the track and spins Denny Hamlin out again, and Ross finishes 2nd. So heading into this race, if there was going to, you had to expect Denny would do something if it was important, and he did. Do you think the move that Denny made on Ross was fair game?
I think so. I would have waited till when it really mattered, playoffs.
But you don't. He still could do that,
He definitely will now because it didn't count.
Yeah,
in my opinion, it was for nothing.
I think now Hamlin's like, well, that was for nothing. Now I'm going to do it to him in the playoffs. I'm just going to sit and wait. I can see why Hamlin at the time put him in the wall for the win, but to at least solidify a big gap for the lead at that point. Then the caution came out because obviously Chastain spun, but you just I feel like you gotta keep your tempers cool at this point because you both are locked in. One can screw the other in the playoffs. So go do that then. Like a good example, Logano Kenseth 2015. Another good example.
That's different though because Logano and Kenseth started in the playoffs.
It started in the playoffs.
Kenseth got wrecked by Logano when Kenseth was had a chance to win a race in the next round.
Yeah. But what did Kenseth do? Kenseth pretty much knocked him out of the final.
Kenseth got him back, but it's different because Ross and Denny, that's been going on for months. It's been going on for months, but they could have waited to when it really, really mattered, which was the playoffs. They could have. And I still think Denny's going to get him again. If those two are side by side in the playoffs,
they'll get him again.
I'll look for Chastain to get Hamlin by accident. So don't worry.
I wouldn't be surprised.
If he don't get Hamlin, he'll get somebody anyway. Maybe it'll be Elliott again. He's already got him once, so.
I don't know why I should be doing this, but I just think Ross, he's a really, really talented driver, but he just makes some really unforced errors. Yeah. And they're not like, I don't even know if they're bonehead moves. He just makes silly mistakes. And because he's a guy that's kind of come out of nowhere, and he's it's his second full season in the Cup Series in competitive equipment, and he's coming out winning races, beating these veterans, and making mistakes and costing them races at the same time. I think that if it was anybody else, like if it was Harvick at Gateway that just slid up and wrecked Denny, I think that Denny probably wouldn't have reacted the same way. I think it was different because of how long Ross has been in the Cup Series, and maybe he doesn't have the respect of the guys back there yet.
Right.
I definitely would say he doesn't right now. I mean, he's made Truex angry. He's made Chase angry. He's made Hamlin angry. That's all this year. He's made Harvick angry a few years ago.
He's made a lot of – Chastain has made a lot of people angry. I mean, look at his one win at Coda. He dumped AJ.
I don't know. That's for the win. That was kind of warranted.
That's for the win, and I do.
And his first win.
AJ would have done the same thing to him.
And Dinger also got Chastain at that time when we almost had to see Bowman throw him back into another one, but he'd end up not because Chastain said, "I see a guy that moved me. He's my break."
So. We talked about the 11 and the 18 being DQ'd. Let's talk about one of those drivers in depth a little more. Kyle Busch. If you told me heading into this season that Kyle Busch would be the biggest free agent story of the 2022 NASCAR season, I think you were crazy. But he is. There was a deal for sponsorship. I believe Jeff Gluck reported that Oracle was the sponsor.
Which got a lot of money.
Oracle does have a lot of money. They're in the America's Cup. They're in Formula One. They're in a lot of different things. They sponsored the Warriors old arena. So they're a big tech company. They got a lot of money, and they are totally willing to get their brand out there. But they were the original sponsor for Kyle Busch for next year, but that deal fell through. Even a couple weeks ago, I would have said you're crazy if you told me Kyle won't be back in the 18 next year.
Or even talking to other teams.
Yeah, exactly. I'll go to Ryan first with this one, and then Tegan can give his opinion. Where do you think Kyle Busch is going to be next year?
I really don't know. Because Hendrick has – I mean, you could have maybe see a reuniting with Hendrick. Doubt it. Because that ended in sour notes. And – I really don't see it happening. And if they get sponsorship, then he'll stay at Joe Gibbs. I think he's been loyal to Gibbs for years. He'll stay if he gets the sponsorship. If he doesn't, he might just end up retiring, honestly.
Whoa.
But he's got two. But where would he go? Do you see him being a part of the Blue Oval family? Hell no.
Yeah.
Hell no. But
if it's a car, yeah.
If it's an SHR car, which then they'll end up kicking out Custer, then they'll do it.
Well, there's an SHR car open.
Maybe.
Almirola might pull back on that.
Yeah, but if Tony Stewart says, because Tony Stewart, I think Tony Stewart is going to want to take it into his hands. Because he wanted Kyle Larson.
And Ford told him no.
And Ford said no. Kyle Busch is probably – Kyle Larson and Kyle Busch are –
I don't look for Ford to make that mistake twice.
No, and I think Tony will say, I'm signing this guy.
Good luck, Tom.
You want me to go back to Chevy? Because you'll lose a big asset if I go back to Chevy. Or if I go to a new manufacturer that wants to come into the sport at some point, which –
And we know Dodge, just rumor it's going to happen eventually. It's just too many rumors.
And Tony Stewart already has an agreement with Dodge for his drag racing team. So,
he could revive Dodge at some point. He might revive Dodge, honestly, in the NASCAR.
But you just got to think, like, if Tony Stewart has a chance to get Kyle Busch in that 10 car, he's going to say, sorry, Eric, I know you might want to come back now, but no.
you come back somewhere else is where you can go.
But honestly, who would you rather kick out? Because Amarola has had some areas of consistency when Custer has been awful.
Trust me, I'd kick out Cole Custer, but I don't know if that's an option.
Happen.
Yeah, mm-hmm. I don't know if that's an option because, it's his third year in the Cup Series, and it seems like he's gotten worse.
Even if you bring in Kyle Busch to replace Eric Amarola, even if you bring him with no sponsorship, they've got Haas that will go in that car. Do you think Haas is going to go on, or not Haas, but Haas and his daddy's company, he's in on it too, is going to want to sponsor Kyle Busch if they kicked out Cole Custer? No. So you keep both and sponsor both.
Haas would sponsor Kyle Busch if that was what they had to do, because Haas has a stake in the team. So I don't think that they're just going to – because if Haas backs out, then Stewart Haas Racing is gone. It's no more. Tony Stewart cannot fund that team on his own without Gene Haas's money and all the resources that he'd take away from it if he were to jump ship.
Now, I believe that years ago, but now with this new car, it ain't a lot of resources.
Yeah, but he would need a big investor of some sort to buy into Stewart Haas to replace Gene Haas's stake. But
Dale Jr.'s wanting in.
Dale Jr. is
back to Chevy.
That could be.
That'd be right back to Chevy for him.
That would be definitely something I didn't see. I wouldn't see coming.
That would be an interesting move to go back to Chevy, but Chevy the past 3 years.
I don't see him going to Chevy next year because there's not a top Chevy open. It's a top Ford. That's it. Or stay where you're at in the Toyota.
Yeah.
So we have a question from the audience. So I'll display this. Our good friend JB asked us a question. What do you think it will take for the teams that have been struggling to get back to top 5 or winning speed?
More practice.
More practice.
More practice.
More.
They need to go back to hour-long practice. If it's just one, I'll take it. I think the races would be better with longer practices.
But haven't the races been really good this year? I think they've been.
There's been some really good races.
There hasn't been very many boring races. The most boring race was Martinsville. And
Charlotte,
everything else I thought has been really, really enjoyable, honestly.
Charlotte was very impressive, especially at the end.
You can't say the race was good at the end. That's Bob Pockrass's whole deal. It's got to be good the whole race, or it ain't good at all. You can't say, the end saved it. But that's the role. That's NASCAR fans now. They ain't the NASCAR fans that are watching from 20 years ago. 20 years ago, no, this would have been garbage. But now the end of it is what saves the race, and it gets it a 90% rating from Bob Pockrass's Twitter poll. Even though if you'd have asked that question 20 laps before the end of the race, it'd have been about 50.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying. But to answer JB's question a little bit, from my opinion at least, I think the guys that have been struggling, they have the top 5 speed there. I think that Hendrick, Greg Ives, and Rudy Fugle can figure something out with Bowman and Byron and turn them around.
Position too.
And track position helps. You got to qualify well. Like you look at Bowman at New Hampshire, he doesn't qualify well. He's out in the first 10 laps. He could have maybe had a top 20, top 15 day if he, had all race to work up through the field on his speed, but he qualified poorly and he put himself in a bad position. And he was with Ty Dillon, and being around Ty Dillon, it seems like it's a hazard. No offense, but
I think it's a hazard. I think it's just a hazard.
I'm pretty sure Ty Dillon ain't watching, so don't worry.
No, but they're not bringing him back for a reason. So
let's be fair. Any Dillon to be around can be a hazard.
They're not bringing him back because they already got somebody in mind, but. Even Dale Jr. hinted at it this weekend. I don't know if anybody else caught that.
Well, I think it's all but confirmed that Noah Gragson is going to be the driver of the 42 car next year. I just think that it's a matter of when it's going to be announced. And I think that's going to be a good move for Petty GMS. I think Noah Gragson is a clear upgrade over Ty Dillon. And I think he's a personality that the Cup Series needs, in my opinion.
That would be a great move for Gragson, and like you said, Petty GMS, that gives them a younger driver who's got a better future. But I thought it was written in the books that maybe Gregson would have gone to colleague in a second car for the Cup Series. But that looks like now with Junior kind of hitting at it, maybe not.
I mean, we could have the rug pulled. It could be could still happen.
Yeah, definitely. Things could change. I could see a guy like Parker Kligerman sneaking into one of those rides.
Maybe part-time, not full-time.
I think maybe he could run the 16 part-time next year. He could, if Noah moves to the Cup Series, they'll still run the same schedule with AJ Hemrick, and the third guy could be Parker Kligerman. Because I think that Parker, he's been pretty impressive.
Oh, you don't think Josh Berry won't get an opportunity, Mike?
Oh, boy. Facebook wishes, but I don't think so. No. Facebook wants Josh Berry to run for president. But I like Josh Berry. Do I think he's the second coming of Jesus? No, I don't. But
No, that's Matt Connors.
That is Matt Connors. We got a couple more questions here. Spencer asks, is Kyle Busch still going to race in trucks? I mean, if he stays at Joe Gibbs Racing, and I don't see KBM going anywhere.
Unless he doesn't stay with Toyota.
I forgot about that. What happens to KBM under Busch if he moves to another team?
Why do you think Toyota wants to keep him so bad? But in my opinion, if they wanted to keep him bad enough, they'd be willing to sign the contract and say, if we can't find a sponsor, we'll cover it. They've got the money. They have the money. They don't have but 6 cars? They've got the money to sponsor him a whole season. So that tells me right there that they don't have the money, or they don't want to put up the money for him. So what's the issue here? I don't think it's money. I think it's because Toyota don't want to sponsor a whole car the whole year.
And it shows that maybe Joe Gibbs and TRD aren't as committed to Kyle as he should be.
As they're putting on.
I think Kyle's probably a little bothered by this. Hendrick Motorsports, before the 2021 season, they signed Kyle Larson. Did they have a sponsor for him?
No.
Still don't.
Tyler Reddick just signed a deal for a year and a half in advance. Do they have a sponsor for him?
No.
If you can get your guy, Denny Hamlin and Rick Hendrick, they did. They went out and got the guy that they wanted. If they really, really, really wanted Kyle Busch,
they would do it.
They would do it. And I don't understand why they just won't, because Kyle Busch is a talent. Even if it's a 1-year deal, sign him. You'll find a way. The sponsors will come. Even if you have to bite the bullet and have Toyota sponsor for your races, that might have to happen. But if you have a guy like Kyle Busch that wants to race for your organization.
We forget that a Gibbs guy is also racing down in the Xfinity Series, and Joe Gibbs' heartstrings are being pulled a little bit.
Well,
no, I would agree with you if it went for Truex, basically going to run one more year. I think Truex is done after next year. That would open up for Ty Gibbs.
That's what I think that is. I think the 19 is Ty Gibbs.
Unless
what's going to happen.
Unless Kyle doesn't sign, then they'll jump Gibbs right into the 18.
Because who else are you going to put in that car? I don't.
I mean, it's like they said there the last couple of years. It takes a year or two with these new cars, even before this new car. It takes a year or two for these drivers to get used to these cars now because they don't practice no more. So it takes them to get it out of the way, struggle for the first year or two, and learn, and then be good at it. Look at not Eric Jones, but
Briscoe.
Christopher Bell.
Briscoe too has a win. I mean,
well, I wouldn't say Bell because Bell
was good right out of the gate.
Bell outperformed the 95 car a few times.
But they put him in there for a reason, so that he could learn. They put him in the good car,
acclimated to it. Yeah,
they kind
of did the same thing with Eric Jones in the 77. So,
I mean, they put. Go ahead, Mike.
No, you go ahead.
Okay. I mean, Bell's first year he was in the 95, and then he gets into winning equipment and he wins the road course, and was somewhat consistent that year. And now this year, as the second year, with the second year in the 20 car, correct?
This is the second year, yeah.
And he's been more consistent with a win at probably his best racetrack, which is New Hampshire.
Yeah, where he almost won last. If darkness wasn't in play, he would have won that race. I would think.
If he's undefeated in the Xfinity Series, he should be undefeated in Cup. Simple as that. So
we have another question. We have a few more things we want to talk about. We'll go through the questions a little bit here. JB asked again, do you think Junior Motorsports will go to the Cup Series soon?
Maybe.
I do. I don't think next year, and maybe not even the year after that, but I think that depending on where Spire is at in the next few years, I think that could be. I think that's Dale Jr.'s avenue to the Cup Series. It's a 2-car team. I think that's what he would like, and they're not competitive. The next gen car really hasn't helped them at all. They're not any closer to the pack than they were last year. The only race that Corey LaJoie can even compete in is a super speedway race.
Yeah.
And he could do that last year. So I don't see Spire's path forward to be a competitive Cup team.
But when you bring that up, Spire is the only two that you can get it's getting scarce now to find a charter. So if you're going to do it, you better be making some offers pretty soon before somebody else beats you to it. We already know that they're willing to sell them for millions of dollars. That's what Denny Hamlin paid to get his. So,
and I think that's Dale. I think that's Dale's path to the Cup Series, Spire. Because I don't see anybody else selling off.
And another
Rick Ware maybe, but
that's going to be tough. And you also have to think too is that Junior Motorsports is somewhat, but his kind of somewhat the farm system in a way for Hendrick. What happens if he takes the jump to Cup Series? What happens then?
I look at Junior Motorsports to be a 2311 equivalent to Hendrick Motorsports.
Okay.
If they move to the Cup Series. And I would see that.
A lot,
yeah. And I would look at that as like they work together, they work hand in hand, and maybe, Junior Motorsports guys could go to both teams. I would say the top guys, that could get a little interesting if there's a really, really big name driver. But I think Hendrick has their driver lineup for the next few years. Pretty settled.
Maybe the only question mark is the 48 right now.
Yeah, but I think they'll keep him around. Ally seems really committed to him, and as long as that happens, and as long as
he's not going anywhere.
He won 4 races last year. He won a race this year. He's in the playoffs.
He's not going.
I think he's like 11th in points. I think he's safe for a couple of years.
And we know
as long as Ally is with Alex Bowman, he's safe. If Ally goes, then we're having a different discussion.
Yeah.
But there's a few more things I want to talk about. We'll answer Spencer's question here. I'm not going to ask you guys your opinion on it. I'm just going to answer it myself. What about Brandon Jones in the 19? Nope. So anyway,
why him when you have Ty Gibbs? There's no way in hell Brandon Jones comes up. There's no way.
Well, that's if Ty goes to the 18 and if Truex retires, that they'll go Brandon Jones in the 19. But I would bet they sign a veteran driver.
They would probably go. They'd go veteran. Brandon Jones would just get killed.
Yeah,
he wouldn't stand a chance in Cup. Maybe you do Brandon Jones for a filler and then let him go back, send him back down to Xfinity, and then bring in a veteran that's ready to go. But no,
that's not going to happen.
No.
No.
So a big story this weekend: Ty Gibbs, who we talked about a fair amount in the last few minutes. He made his Cup Series debut, but not probably how he wanted to. Ty Gibbs replacing Kurt Busch in the 45 car, who suffered a concussion after his crash during the Saturday qualifying session at Pocono. And it was a hit where if you probably put him in a last generation car, I don't think he has a concussion. So there's been a lot of discussions lately about how hard the hits have been and how much the drivers have said these hits have hurt more than anything I've had in my career up until this point. So are you guys concerned about the safety of the next gen cars? And do you think NASCAR has done enough to make these cars safe for the drivers?
I'm a little worried, just a little. And it's something, this started last year. The rumors was going around that now that the test didn't look good. I feel like NASCAR kind of covered their tracks a little bit with that and even got the drivers to do it for them. But, even Harvick had a crash at Gateway this year and said that's one of the hardest hits he's ever took in a car in his career. And
you wouldn't have realized it because it didn't look like it was.
Look at Kurt.
At all.
The only thing about Kurt that I could tell that was kind of hard was the noise.
Yeah.
You could hear it be hard, but when you look at it without the sound, you think, oh, that ain't nothing. I mean, he didn't even square it in the back. It kind of got the quarter panel. When you're getting hit in the back and it's causing a concussion, that means your head's moving and hitting something. You don't get a concussion because your body sits still. So either he wasn't in that car right, he wasn't buckled in right, or there's stuff in this car that we don't know about. And he's not the only one. Look at Blaney this weekend. It took him a really long time to get out of that car. Probably had to catch his breath. And look at Harvick this weekend when he hit Chastain. They had his in-car camera. His body moved. And then he even said that about broke his wrist. So it happened so fast, and it was such a violent hit that it knocked the wheel and got his hand caught in it. So these cars are just way too stiff. And they're built to take or not to take damage. They're built to, take a hit to the wall. But when you do that, the energy does not go nowhere. It stays in that car. When it used to absorb it. So now these drivers are feeling the hits. And I feel like we're going to get more than a concussion eventually if they don't figure something out. And then we find out that they made drivers wear mouthpieces to measure G-forces, and that was before Kurt Busch's crash. So they already know what's going on, and I don't know how they fix it without changing something in the car. So I don't know. It's weird.
I think it's a little concerning if the drivers have to wear mouthpieces to determine how hard they're crashing. Blaney kind of said that. He said that we're doing something wrong if this is what we have to do. And I agree with him. I think that I definitely think that there was some safety concerns when this car was first made that were definitely hidden. And I think they've made a lot of gains and improvements to probably make this car as safe as it is because, there's been hard hits this year, but this is the first injury. And injuries happen. Concussions happen in NASCAR. They happened in the old cars. You think, Junior. You think those cars?
Well, some of them are just more concussion prone. Junior was concussion prone, but
maybe Kurt Busch's. We don't know how little they were documented for his career because you didn't know Junior had a concussion problem until 2012, and he said, "Oh, I've had many concussions
since 2002, over 10 years."
Yeah, and so go ahead, Ryan.
Another thing too with this car is you have seen some drivers take some tough hits. A good example has been Bubba. Bubba has taken some pretty nasty hits. And you can see as soon as he got out of the car, I think at Atlanta when he got absolutely nailed the wall, he was out. He was on his knees. He didn't know what was going on.
He said that was the hardest hit he's ever had.
It was a hard hit right out of the gate.
I also think Bubba's like Junior. I think he's going to be one that's concussion prone.
I don't know if he's concussion prone, but I think
seems like he gets hurt a lot. Or not hurt,
it seems like the crashes get to him more than he feels them more. But he's had hard hits, and he's had two. I forget where the second one was, but Atlanta was definitely a hard hit for him. And if I know these cars are safe and nobody's dying like they were in 1999 or 2000, 2001-ish, but these guys shouldn't be, feeling the way they feel after some of these crashes. But luckily,
they said that it takes a couple of days to get over it. Even
true.
Austin Dillon, I know he's not young. He's in his 30s, but he's youngish, and it's taking him 3 days to get over a wreck. So what's that tell you about older drivers like Harvick, Kurt Busch, and Truex?
Their bodies are taking a beating, and it's not. And you look at the cars before they went to the new gen car. You could see the hits were bad, but these guys get out of the car like they're okay. They're at least somewhat okay. Now you're seeing guys get out of the car slower, and you're sitting there like, that's not right at all. We're used to seeing the cars being very safe, and this car's not as safe as what the old gen car was, and does raise concern because some of these hits have been really bad, and it could severely hurt someone if it goes the wrong way fast.
No, definitely. And I think that NASCAR needs to make improvements, as Blaney said, and I'll say it again. If these guys have to wear mouthpieces to determine how bad these crashes are, there's a problem.
NASCAR's put a lot of money in this car. It's ride or die with these cars now. You'd have to change. It'd be a major overhaul during the off season which means it's major money to be able to get these cars where they can take hits again. Which means now, I mean, look, a car hits flush on a wall, your driver's still in the race, unless they break the aluminum wheel or a spindle, whatever they call it in the wheel there. Now that they can repair it on pit road, if you start making them soft again, you're back to where when you wreck, you're done. You're not getting back in it, which may have to, may not have the choice.
Driver safety comes
it's
first.
Safety first, so
driver safety comes first. If you're putting these guys at risk, it's very dangerous. I mean, look what they did when they went to the car of tomorrow. They had to get rid of the wings. They had to get rid of the big spoiler because these cars were catching air. Good example, Keselowski at Atlanta. He caught massive air after Edwards turned him, and they're like, okay, nope, that's got to go. I mean, you're putting fans at risk. Well, that was putting fans at risk too, but I mean, these cars, I mean, that's still dangerous for the driver to be up in the air like that.
So, so they're going to have to definitely make some improvements with that.
Look at JB's question, Mike.
I just saw it.
That's another issue.
What can teams do to fix the bottoming out issue with flat tires?
They can't. That's a NASCAR issue, not a driver issue.
That's a NASCAR / Goodyear issue.
That's not the teams.
It's not even Goodyear. Goodyear's stuck in a box. It's NASCAR. NASCAR should not have went to that kind of
change
tire.
And NASCAR, it's not Goodyear's the system. NASCAR said we would like this profile tire, and Goodyear goes okay, and when they get down, the cars are so low to the ground that they're gonna do that, and it's something the teams could do. It's got to be up to NASCAR. Luckily, it seems like it hasn't been. The bottoming out has been bad, but it seems like they're not getting stuck like they were in the beginning of the season. Like somebody would spin out and get flat tires, and they'd get stuck. So I think they're starting to figure out how not to get stuck. But
now you get the issue of you don't want to drive it back around, especially at a 2.5 mile track like Pocono. I applaud it. When the 2 car got hooked up, why didn't you just drive backwards, you dumbass? When Eric Amarola flipped it around, I thought, that's how you do it. That's for you doing good for your team, and you're sticking it to NASCAR, in my opinion. Take your lap penalty if that's what they give you for driving backwards and go on, because look at Cindric out there limping around like he's dead in the water. So NASCAR is kind of be like, oh, yeah, we got to let them. We got to give that to them. I mean, they screwed them. When you spin out with these tires now, all 4 of your tires are going flat, not just one. And all 4 of them go flat or 2 of them go flat,
you're done.
You're stuck.
Bowman
and they don't get no hurry getting your ass back to pit road either. And they don't care how you get there. They'll tear that damn thing up and not care.
I mean, Bowman had a race where he had wrecked, 2 tires go flat, and he was done. He was stuck in water. Yeah. Another one, even though it's not a great car, but Bilicki spun out. All of a sudden, 1 tire's gone, and then he spins, then the other tire goes. And he was stuck on a hill. Like, he's not moving anywhere. He's just stuck. So NASCAR screwed Goodyear and the drivers at this point in time. Either they go, but you can't, like you said, these next-gen cars, that's the wheel they chose. Are they going to massively overhaul that again to go back to the normal wheel?
Like I said,
I know you're not going to.
It's ride and die with this car.
You're riding and dying until you maybe go to another gen car. But then again, that's much money, and they don't have the sponsorship anymore.
And they're not going to go. What they care about, they don't care that there's an occasional guy that has an issue bottoming out or can't get back to pit road. They care that the action has been better than ever, and I can't deny it. The next gen car.
I wouldn't go that far. I think the teams kind of forced NASCAR in this because the team started bitching because they were having to spend way too much money to keep up with the other teams, or with this team, or with this team. It got out of hand, so NASCAR's like, okay, we'll build you a car where you have to buy the parts from 4 vendors. Now, to me, the teams kind of bit their own selves in the ass here.
They did. I agree. I mean,
no, but I think the next gen car has made the season itself. Like I've found myself enjoying NASCAR. I always enjoyed NASCAR. I even enjoyed it with the stupid 550 horsepower package. I didn't like it, but I still would rather watch that than mostly anything else. I still enjoyed it. It was a fine viewing experience for me. But this car has provided so much more entertainment for me as a fan. I think it's really, really been good. And Pocono, I'll be honest, I haven't enjoyed a race at Pocono in so long. I actually thought that was a really good race.
Y'all people give Pocono a bad rap. I've always liked Pocono. It's a strategy race.
Well, yeah, because you're good. You can drive good there.
No, not me. I'm talking about NASCAR.
No, but,
talking about real drivers.
No, but that's why you like it.
But I mean, that's another reason why Chicken likes it. He's very good in the league, and go figure, we go there this week. So, oops.
Yeah, I think we can talk a little bit about this is going to be, for this podcast series, it's mostly going to be about real life NASCAR, but we're also going to discuss some league topics. So we're coming off a race at Watkins Glen. Tegan got his 10th win of the year there. Yay.
Unfair. He had, 19 last year?
17.
Yeah,
something like that.
Probably should have had 19, but, I can't get greedy, right?
So we'll let you talk about it, and then we'll go. Brian and I will probably talk about our races a little bit. But Tegan, what went into that win for you?
I'm not gonna lie. I went into that race pretty much thinking I was going to eventually hit a wrong spot on the track, hit the S's wrong, or the bus stop, pop a wheelie, get a penalty and stuff like that. I really wasn't expecting to be as good as it was, and I was barely good. I mean, Bradley stayed within 3 seconds the whole race. The rest of you chode, so I can't speak for, but Bradley kept me honest just last night. So, and we did it without cutting the course. I mean, I don't think nobody cut the course like we were during the week in practice. Me and JB and Ryan, we were cutting the course pretty good, and I'm like, yeah, we're gonna have to get out of this habit because it's not gonna fly Sunday. Not with all this dirt popping up. So, I mean, me and Bradley kept each other honest, and he gave me a good run. I still won. Led wire to wire, by the way. Scored a perfect race, by the way. That's for you, Craig. Just so you know. But yeah, it was a good race.
That's why I got up and walked away for a second when you said I didn't hit any wrong spots on the track, because my race I was in second, and I was losing ground to you, but I think I would have been able to finish second or third in that race. But I hit a part of the track that I never knew was going to be an issue.
No, I've seen your part of the track. I've never had that issue. Not there.
You saw my wreck. It just went straight around. Like, it didn't.
You didn't get a chance. Didn't give you a warning or nothing.
No, it just went right around, and so I fell back. But I had a little. As Spencer just put in the chat, if you had a fun battle with me, yeah, it was an interesting last lap there. But
I got some popcorn while that was going on.
Yeah, I worked out a top 5, which I'll absolutely take for. If I can finish top 5 every week, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Watkins Glen, I have a little bit more expectations. I was trying to get a top 3 or 4, but I'd say my race went pretty well. I was happy with. I started 7th, and I was in 3rd on lap 3. So.
Yeah, because I messed up the bus stop by lap 4.
I made a pretty sexy move.
You made the move, and I'm like, okay, Mike, that's your position. I'm not going to stop you. I'm not going to block you and cause something stupid.
You're so lucky, Matt. Look at this comment. This comment's disrespectful. You're so lucky Matt Connors didn't slow you down. Well, if you looked at my stream, he did. And he almost killed me, but it's all love to Matt.
No.
But, hey.
It's not a race without a Matt moment.
It is
no, it isn't.
Where you both bobbed when one of you should have weaved.
Hey, and it's not. Hey, Spencer, it's not my fault. You took the bus stop like a grandma. So.
But my race was. It was over one. My race was over after pretty much as soon as the stage was coming to an end. I hit 2 places wrong, and there it went.
Yeah.
The one caution that came out during was supposed to be the long green flag runs for us. I was literally half of my car was on the runoff out of the second to last turn. Half of my car was still on the track. It spun out, caused caution, and I just couldn't recover. I just couldn't recover. I had a tough time recovering, and I had thought as the weeks of practice was going through, I was like, okay, could probably sneak myself a top 5, maybe a top 3. Nope, that race went bad real fast for me.
Yeah, that's what can happen at road course. There's just one wrong move, and you go around, and then
it's not even a wrong move. It's if you hit a spot wrong, and it'll literally just grab your car, and it's like a sprinkler. Yeah. It goes around and up in the air, and you're just hoping nobody hits you.
Yeah.
Well, in that case, actually, you would hope someone hits you so you can get a caution and get the damage.
That's people like you, Brian, that wants a caution every other lap.
What did I do, Tegan? What did I do when I spun out?
You backed her into the wall, and nobody hit you. If anybody would have hit you last night where you were sitting, after I watched that replay, I've been like, okay, yeah, that was on purpose. Because you were in the pit road lane when you spun. So,
yeah,
which I don't think you had a choice. I don't think you backed it there on purpose. It just went there.
No. I had no idea. Like, once I realized I was spinning out when my rear end was on the wall. And I did it happened so fast and out of nowhere that there's really nothing I could do. But we'll be heading into Pocono this weekend for our league race. Everybody's expectations are, for Tegan to pull this one off. But you know well.
I've got a mod there. Remember?
You do have a mod there. You do have.
I have a couple mods: drafting mod, tire mod, a fuel mod.
Got everything there.
So, is there anybody that you think can give you a challenge?
Bradley, because Bradley's been catching up a little bit here every season. He catches up a little bit more, which that's everywhere. But yeah, Pocono, yeah. But I feel confident about Pocono. But yes, I do feel like if Bradley's given the opportunity in the late in the race or something, yeah, it's a possibility that I may not win Pocono. So.
And do you think that people are going to be more aggressive around you for the win because of how many wins you have?
I think they have all season. I think before I got 5 in a row, I was already getting raced differently. So it's already going on, which is fine. But I take it and I take it and I go on. I mean, Bradley's been one, you've been one. I think Pred's been a few of them. You just race hard. Not dirty, but hard. But now, once it starts getting dirty, if it gets to that point, I can get dirty too. I don't care. Absolutely, Hamlin, your ass. Yeah, Mike. Me and you've had run-ins in different leagues, your league, this league, and then we're fine the next weekend. But I can get pretty dirty too. And if I can't win it that way, by God, I'll just say you want win it that way. I don't give a shit.
I don't need a. Hey, I'm surprised you didn't bring me up, Tegan, because stage 2 Charlotte, that was pretty bad.
I still owe you for that one, Brian. Thanks for reminding me.
I think, Tegan,
I did not mean to hit you.
I don't think anybody is. Everybody, like, you're one of the more popular guys in the league. But Kurt Busch's interview at, I think it was like it was Bristol of like 2010, and after Jimmy Johnson had won that race, and he goes, "Man, I wish any one of the 41 guys would have won that race, but not that guy."
Yeah, I think we were all feeling that way. I think even Harvick made that comment about the horseshoe comment. That's basically the same thing, yeah. But I'll give Spencer some credit. He races me pretty cleanly, only because I threatened his ass. But that don't work on everybody else. Maybe Mind Killer. He's a little. Yeah, he's getting a little mouthy. But
I get a little nervous around you. You scare me.
No, I know Tegan's gonna owe me back one time. I'm just hoping he doesn't do it when it matters.
Well, the thing about how I race Tegan is like I know if you get like there's a lot of guys that I know that if they get by me, I'll have another chance at them. But there's a lot of places where if you get by me, I don't know if you're coming back. So
like
I thought I raced. Yeah,
I'm surprised you raced me as clean as you did at Indy when I passed you back for the final time. I thought I was going to get more gruff than what I got.
I don't like hitting people. Like I had a chance to push JB out of the way for the win at Iowa, and I gave it back to him because I didn't. I don't want to win like that. Especially like it depends on who it is. If it's somebody, it really depends on who it is.
If it's me, you're fine with it because I've got 10 wins, right?
Well,
See,
I might give you a little shot, but like at Watkins Glen, I thought we had a fun little battle there for my momentary lead.
Cooper Center and I took the lead on you on the outside, and we didn't touch, and that's you're asking a lot for a league race on this game or any game to race somebody side by side in that track and on a road course in two corners, and you're the outside guy in the unpreferred lane to make it work and not actually touch. So it takes some talent, and we're professional drivers.
Like other leagues, you're getting touched and it's going to probably cause you to wreck.
I've been moved at Watkins Glen for the win. JB knows. He watched it happen, and it pissed me off. So it feels good to win a league race there and not back into it.
I've been hit at Watkins Glen.
I don't know who you're talking about.
Not you.
Is it Mr. JB's nickname on our other league is 2-ton brake. So we need to call Bradley 3-ton brake because apparently they've got the same issue. So.
For anybody that doesn't know the story, I'm leading a race in my old league at Watkins Glen, and all I hear is Bradley's probably like a car length behind me, and all I hear heading into turn one is "Oops, no brakes," and that was my race. Done. See you later. And then Tegan wins.
Bradley takes the lead still, and then wrecks himself trying to keep it, and I'm like, all right, thanks, fellas. Because I'm sitting here 10 seconds behind.
And you remember, I was not happy.
Oh, you could tell because you didn't speak. You could tell when you're really mad because you didn't talk.
You don't speak.
You got hit, and in the next lap, you hear Mike say, "No more yellows," in that tone. And you're like, you kind of feel bad for him. But when you're leading and you're going to win the race, you kind of don't.
See,
you don't feel as bad.
No, not as bad, no.
No, like one thing for certain, like other leagues you would expect to get hit and you're just sitting like, really? I'm gonna hit you back now. But no, like a lot of these guys in this league have a lot of respect for each other. I mean, Mike, we've been around each other too much in certain races, and specifically when I had to lead at Dover for a good portion of for the stage, and all of a sudden I'm looking at my timer, I'm looking at my left side corner, I'm like, shit. I'll give him a battle for a little bit, but I don't think my car is going to be able to hold him for much longer.
That was weird because I just had like that race I didn't expect to be good at all there, and
all of a sudden
my long run car was unconscious. Like I was so fast.
I was like,
okay. There are circumstances that were out of my control that let me lose that race. So
but you just have to have respect for the other drivers. I mean. It's what happened. I mean, if you have the respect for other drivers and you'll have run-ins, but you guys have the respect for each other and you'll be all right going into next week.
Absolutely. Well, so we talked about Pocono a little bit for our league, and the real Cup Series is going to be heading to the Indianapolis road course. So what are your expectations for that? Do you think that they're going to continue racing there? And who do we think is the favorite?
The favorite's probably Chase Briscoe, maybe Chase Elliott.
It's the two Chases, I think.
Or maybe Ross. I kind of don't see them racing much longer if it's even after this season, because I think there's kind of a big push from the drivers and the fans. They want to see what this new car will do back on the oval.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I think if you're going to run at Indy, you need to run on the oval. To me, the road course does not count as a crown jewel. That's just my opinion. Denny wanted to win it because he thought it counted, but in my opinion, it does not count. You shouldn't even go to the bricks, in my opinion, because it's not the same. I think they need to go back to the oval, at least give it a shot. And if to me, Indy's never been a bad race. I don't know why people gripe about it and give it shit, but
no, I mean,
it's not a race I would want to go watch it live. It's like Talladega and Daytona. You don't see nothing but every 20, 30 seconds or 50 seconds. It's a good race, though, in my opinion, to watch on TV.
It's a good race to watch on TV, but you also have to think, too, like, Indy has produced some good races, obviously, or at least some storylines where you remember 2015 when Kyle Busch was it Kyle Busch that? No, he dominated 16, but Kyle Busch won the Brickyard, I think, in 15 as well, coming off a leg injury, and he wins a crown jewel. Then 16, he dominates the race, and then he goes for 3 in a row, and him and Truex collide, and you have a shit show happen during that whole race.
That wasn't really a shit show. It was good racing.
It was good racing.
People going for it. I mean, you had a car blowing up, going for the lead, and wrecks.
I mean, and
to
then
me, that's good racing.
You remember Jimmy Johnson went for the win too, spun out. I mean, you saw a lot of the aggressiveness come out in that race. So I mean that race, I agree. It got a lot of hate when it shouldn't have, honestly. And we need to go back. I want to see the oval again. I'm one race of the road course, and I said that's it. I need the oval.
Hell, I'd be fine if they want to go and do both. Make it a 2-week deal. Make it a weekend deal. Run a doubleheader. Run a freaking road course on Saturday and run the freaking oval on a Sunday.
Because
I don't think you can turn it around quick enough, but who knows? Maybe you can.
But I mean, look at how Charlotte is doing now with the Roval and then the Coke 600. It works out for them beautifully. I mean, but do you want to give Indy the 2 Sundays? Do you want to give them a 2 race on the schedule set when you're already moving to other tracks? Or actually, let me rephrase that. You're going to a street course in 23. I mean, is it worth giving Indy a second date? Maybe not. You might just need to go back to the oval and see what this car can do, because the only thing that can really run the Indy road course, in my opinion, is either IndyCar or F1 when it was there.
You can't say that, because a lot of people say NASCAR had no business being on the oval in the first place either when they went there in 94.
Yeah.
So you can't give that argument about the road course and then try to defend that against that argument for Cup cars or Xfinity cars even on the oval. So it's a two-sided sword or whatever. They're not the same.
My opinion on it.
If you can turn on the racetrack, it's suitable for any damn car, in my opinion.
My opinion is I actually like the idea to have a weekend doubleheader, the Indy road course on Saturday or Saturday afternoon, and then the Indy Cup race Sunday. And I think that would work great.
To be honest, this weekend's race may actually set it, depending on how it goes, what happens next year for the road course.
Yeah, because I enjoyed the Indy road course. I'm a big road course racing fan in general. Even before Chase Elliott was good here, anybody that knew me then knew that I always advocated for more road courses in every capacity. I've been saying this for 10 years, how I want more road courses. I mean, you saw Marcus Ambrose and Brad Keselowski duke it out in 2012, and you didn't want to see more of that? Absolutely. I thought I'm all for road courses. I think we're at a good amount now. I think we're at a good number. I don't know if we need more.
No,
but I like yeah, well, I don't like that, but I liked the Indy road course last year. I thought it was decent. I do think that the Brickyard 400 still should be a Cup Series race, though. But my prediction for the win, I think it's going to be either Kyle Larson or Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott finished 4th there last year. He's gotten progressively better as the season has gone on at the road courses, because you look at Coda earlier this season, the 9 car was off compared to where they were at the road courses last year. And then as the season's gone on, they've gotten steadily better and better. And it looked like Road America, they seemed like the 9 car of the, 2018 to 2021 road courses. And I think that they are starting to turn the corner, at least with their road course program, and the 9 is fast every week. And I think Kyle Larson, he finished 3rd there last year. He had a strong run. He was fast in qualifying and practice last year. I know the car is different, but I think Larson and Chase Elliott are your favorites. But if I had to pick one, I'll go Chase Elliott was my favorite for the Indy road course.
I think there's really 3 guys, because if I'm assuming in the 16 you're putting Allmendinger. Correct. I mean,
he'll be racing.
I don't think you don't put Allmendinger in the 16 at this race. He won it I believe he won it last year. Correct. He was the one that.
Yeah.
So you're gonna put Dinger. You're gonna put Dinger in there because he's a damn good road course racer. You're gonna let him go. I think it's between 3 guys, and it's either gonna be Briscoe, Elliott, or Allmendinger. And if Chase, like he was at Road America, comes out and is top 2 car, you ain't touching him. I don't think it's a tough task to go at him at a road course. Now, if Briscoe can match him, Briscoe will be his target. And the same with Allmendinger. I think those guys could easily finish in the top 3 altogether. It's just a question of who's more disciplined going through the corners.
That's how they all end up. And hopefully, if Chase Elliott wins, that would be 6 straight top 2s and 3 wins in his last 4 races. So that'd be a pretty big stretch for him. It'd be his 5th playoff point.
But he has to be at least in
5th win. Excuse me.
He needs to be at
some more playoff
7th
points
at some point during that race, or it's not.
He will be.
It's not a Chase Elliott race if he's not in 7th.
He always ends up there. But as we're winding down here, are there any other topics that you guys would like to bring up and talk about at all?
We got to remember our Pocono race is actually the 5th year anniversary date and racetrack, correct?
Yes. So since it was, we originally raced on Monday nights for the CFRL. It was 5 years ago, the first race. I'm the only active member that was there for the first one, so I hold a little bit of pride in that. But yes, it will be, since we moved to Mondays, now we're on Sundays, and there's a leap year in there somewhere. This is the 5th anniversary of CFRL on the exact date and at the exact same track. We made a little schedule alteration. I brought it up to Tegan and Bradley because I looked at it and I realized, this is,
perfect.
This is perfect. It's going to work out great, and it'll be really, really cool.
And whoever wins it.
Whoever wins it, it's a big race for them, and that'll be probably one of the bigger races in their CFRL career that they could win.
It's our crown jewel.
This is definitely a crown jewel race this week. It's a big one, and I don't know, Tegan. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to make them work out, but I think we're working on a couple things.
Work on what?
Well, it wouldn't be any fun telling people, would it?
Maybe. Can you show them though the website?
I can.
Yeah.
What do you? I can
show. I've linked up
now.
The new career top 10s and 5s, and now I've also linked up.
Where do you have that?
It's on the current. It's the top 2 links.
On the home.
And I also got the
week?
Current week.
Okay.
And then I also got, you have to scroll down and find it, but I also have the, actually made a prediction for the playoffs based off of their average points this season so far.
Which is very intriguing. I actually saw it.
I'm working on it right now. I got to adjust my preferences to be able to do it. Perfect. Okay. Okay, I got to do it again. No, I can't do that. Okay, this is fun. See, Tegan, look what you're making me do.
I could do it. My shit's so damn slow. Is it slow for you?
No. I'm just... Okay. It's not slow for me. I just have to adjust my settings. Okay. Whoa. Look at this.
Hello.
Okay. What do you want me to look for?
Do you have it tabbed up yet? There you go.
Yeah.
There's the new link right there. The Cup Career top 5s and 10s. So this is like updated every week on its own based off where everybody finishes. So there's some names in there that's currently still racing with us, or even one that's retired this season. So I don't think nobody will be catching Bradley anytime soon. So
no.
Holy hell! How does he have that many top 10s. Good Lord.
Been here for a long time.
And then there is
a lot of great things here.
Up on the top is the predictor. Very top.
Oh, this is cool. I looked at this morning. So I believe, Tegan, this is based on average points, average
points,
kind of
average stage points earned, and even average playoff points earned. If everybody stays at average that they have this season, this is kind of the way, and it's going to get updated as the races get. Every race, it updates itself. So after I've done this morning, I won't have to touch it again, unless I realize I'm in there, which is a strong possibility because sometimes I get in a hurry. So
plus 71, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, stupid. But I don't really like. I think your predictor is pretty bad, honestly. I don't think the Final Four is really accurate at all. I mean, if I I might look at like somebody at the Roval if I missed the Final Four by 1 point. But because that would be heartbreaking. It would be the worst, worst 9 months of my life for a season. But yeah, so let me stop doing this. And yeah, so anybody else? We got anything else to discuss? We've covered a lot of topics. We've been on for about an hour and 15 minutes, going strong. Anything else you guys want to discuss?
No, sir.
Don't think so.
All right. Well, we will be back next week, next Monday. Hopefully we can keep this as a regular Monday thing. But I appreciate everybody that tuned in. We had a lot of good comments. JB, Spencer were in the comments. Sal was too. So shout out to all of them for interacting and watching the stream. Really appreciate everybody for tuning in, and hopefully we can make this into something because this would be pretty cool. So thank you for watching, and let's let the music take us home.
Yeah, unfortunately, we were doing our